Well, this is just a little video to shoot some of my hammerstones, but mainly that main one right there is one just like it, but it's broke. But I had my best two manos out, and my only Matati also, which these two I found in the same spot in the Big C, just a year apart. Found this one year and this the next year, but I mean they came from like a 20-foot diameter out there. But these are some of my best hammerstones. Now all these with the pits in them, these are all from the Dirty Hole property. But these are some other ones here. Here's a nice quartz one. You can see where it's been all the pecking. All the way around it. Same like this one over here. This one here doesn't have a lot of pecking on each end, or none down the sides. And you can tell it looks like they were starting a pit on that side. They definitely clearly had a pit on this side where it all looks like it's been pecked out. And then just a little bit of pecking on that end there. This one here, that's broke, if you'll notice, it's really smooth on the top on both sides with two pits, just like that one there has. I'm sorry, I forgot to show this one first. Oh, this one here, and I'll show it on this one here too, but I think that one there even has some sides on it. But if you look closely at this, all these work sides on this are almost like a faceted side. And then they've worked that whole end around, which it has a ton of pecking marks around it. See the nice defined edge, and then the pit on that side, except look at this side of it. It still has all the nasty outer core that it's always had. But this is a really, really heavy hammerstone. This would have been great for big reduction flakes, you know, not necessarily percussion flakes. And we have this broke one here, which you can see all the peck marks that go around it. This here, you can tell that's a faceted side that they probably use sandstone to grind them on. This side here, right there's a faceted side, if the lighting's hitting that correctly. This side just a little bit, like right in here, but other than that it's been really smoothed out. And you can see the peck marks all the way around. Now, this hammerstone here, this is the cream of all jewels right here for hammerstones. This has several faceted sides on this piece here. Pits on both sides. I mean, I hope you can see them faceted sides really well. I mean, each one has its own distinct, you can tell where they took that face right there constantly in a direction, which I don't know if the camera will show any of the directional scratches, because you dang near gotta use the loop or magnification of some type to see them with. Even on this side they have it polished so much. But what makes this a precision hammerstone, so I want you to notice how they use this all the way around. But if you'll notice, you have real, I mean, this here is used just as much as this here. But see the width difference? I mean, it gets real skinny right there. There's a nice wide spot. Skinny's up some more. Real nice and skinny right there. Gets wide again, really wide right there. And then right here is a little bitty spot on it that they never got used, I guess. I mean, you can see that real good, but right there it starts again, just from right there to right there, and it's all the way around like that. Now, once you look at some of these points from the property, like this Etley here has a lot of your great big wide normal Etley size flakes in it, you know, like this width here. But look at the width difference in some of these other percussion flakes. I mean, that one there is half the size of those there. A lot of them on this one here are the same size, except you start getting some smaller ones up in here. It's the same with that on a lot of these types of points. I mean, all the big percussion flakes aren't the same size. Killer little bottleneck Etley there. There's a sedalia. Pretty sure this doodad was made in the tip, not finalized on there yet, and that's full of mineral deposits. Now see, especially at the sedalias, you'll get some real big wide flakes, percussion flakes, but you'll get a lot of little skinny ones too. And then, I mean, I've seen some modern nappers that can actually use their hammerstones and create some secondary edge work. It may not be like as good as some pressure flake secondary edge work, but I've seen some guys that are really quite good at it. So my hypothesis or theory is that a lot of these guys, especially with a hammerstone like this, was probably being used by a really skilled, aged napper. And he could spin this at any given time, depending on what the stone was doing and the size he wanted that percussion flake to be. If he wanted it great big, or if he wanted it really skinny. Well, that's all. Just I'd show some hammerstones. Except, you know, I keep waiting for that day where I can pop out a hammerstone and it be right next to a point or a bunch of points, and then go through all the collected devitage, all the manufactured flakes, and at least maybe come up with some flakes of the same material. If not, maybe even a flake that may have came off of it. Now that's a display I've never seen, but for me to believe that those two ever come together, we'll have to see them found on film. I carry a prove it card in my pocket, so yeah, if you can't prove it, it's kind of hard for me to believe it. But we do know that all these made a lot of points from the property. You know, I can't say for certain on this one. I mean, it's still kind of in its manufacturing stage itself. I mean, I wouldn't think that they would leave that big old nasty cobbly stuff on there, but who knows? If it was just for reduction flakes, you know, taking off giant spalls, getting them down to maybe a first stage preform, and then taking a hammerstone like this and working it down through its stages of a preform down to where it's ready to get indirect percussion flakes to create the notches in a smetley type point. Well, hope everybody has a good April. It's finally 88 degrees here today. Clear skies. Hoping it's gonna make some magic happen. And that's a cream of a cop right there. Cream of the crop hammerstones.